project. The project is in week 4, it's project number 1. So it'll show up on the screen, right? Okay, but before we get to the screen, we're gonna have to attack or approach a lateral search pattern. I've chosen to do a search pattern. So how do you wanna start looking at a neutral lateral cervical radiograph is the challenge. Okay, so in my little stick diagram, this is his nose, anterior. This is posterior. This is supposed to be the lordosis. How many vertebrae are there? How many vertebrae of the cervical spine?
7.
Okay, I only drew 3, I understand that, okay? Now, which ones are typical?
3, 4, 5, 6.
3 through 7. So that means C1 and C2 are atypical. All right? So what we're trying to do is okay, the checkerboard grid is the idea. Okay? And if I said this was A1, and 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, somebody can say, I want to start at A1. At the end of the day, we would have covered all the grid squares in the grid, right? We're just being methodical about it. Now, I can make smaller squares, I can make bigger squares. When you change your mind, it's easy enough to change your search pattern. But if I said, man, where do you want to start? Which corner? What would you tell me? There's no right or wrong answer.
Probably A1.
A1? Okay. I'm going to start here with the nose. And so this is soft tissues anteriorly. What soft tissue structures, just without even thinking about it, are anterior in the cervical spine?
The trachea,
Trachea, good.
esophagus.
Esophagus. HY is hyoid.
Oh, sorry.
Is there a trachea? I mean a thyroid?
Yep.
Okay. So if you see it on the film, are you responsible for it?
Yep.
Okay, just saying, okay? So because I started here, I'm doing soft tissues. I'm not so much interested in the facial skeleton because we're not dentists. Our emphasis is in the spine, right?
Mhm.
But I'm responsible for everything on the film. So soft tissues will be included. And I've sort of put something in here called a sella. If you see the sella, do you have to evaluate it?
Yep.
Yes, so it needs to be part of your search pattern. Okay, so what we're doing now is we're sort of dissecting our cervical spine and saying, okay, if I drew my lines, my body lines, I do an anterior body line, I do a posterior body line, I do a spinolaminar line, and then I finally do a spinous process line that goes all the way from A1 to D5 or whatever. Okay? Now, it doesn't matter how Nan starts, but hopefully she starts every time with A1. When she changes her mind because it no longer makes sense to her, you can start wherever you want. Okay? On the other side of the room, okay, Stefano might say, no, I'm gonna go against the grain, I'm gonna start down here, E5, and I'm gonna work my way this way. There's no right or wrong with this, it's your search pattern. All right? The next thing is, the parts of C1 and C2 are different, right? So C1 has a posterior neural arch, C2 does not, it just has a big spinous process. All right? But at the end of the day, we've all looked at each structure in some organized fashion. That's the big picture of the search pattern. Okay? Questions for me so far? So it's yours. I've got mine. I spent a lot of time developing it until it was the way I wanted. But you've got the next, your semester 5, another 5 semesters to get it organized. But what are we x-raying? Cervical, thoracic, the lumbar, shoulder all the way down to feet. You have to have many search patterns ready to go because if they come in with shoulder pain and you take a shoulder x-ray, oh my God, this doesn't look right to me. But on what basis did you make that decision that it doesn't look right? I went through my structured shoulder exam on the radiology side. On the clinical side, I did all this testing and I thought it was condition X. So it's a, which way is this going?
It's done.
Okay, so it's a process. There's no right or wrongs. This is your first time, okay? The benchmark is 8, okay? You'll probably all get 8s out of 10. But if you forget the sella, there's a mark, okay? Now, this is the occiput. If you said, I'm looking at the sella, and you didn't talk about the occiput, and it's on this particular x-ray that we're looking at, you've missed one important part that was there, okay? Now, I'm not going down and saying, okay, I'm gonna look for 10 things you didn't say and therefore you get 0. No. This is your first attempt at a search pattern, okay? We're here until the next 45 minutes. I'll help you, okay, if you ask me the question, but I'm not gonna give you the answer. I'm guiding you, all right? So that's the aim of the project. And where we end up with these projects, we start with mini projects semester 5. By the time you get to semester 9, we're doing RAD reports. We're taking this, we're adding another thing all the way through, so that the point, if you get a cervical spine x-ray that has a disease process on it, we've studied enough disease process, you go through your search pattern and you can organize yourself and describe this entity that's going on with this patient. That's where we want to end up, okay? So, baby steps here, all right? Okay, I see you when next? Tuesday. So you've got until Tuesday at class to hand in your hard copy. All right, I'll grade it and then I'm gonna scan it into your folder that we put in OneDrive. We've had some success with Jennifer. Who's Jennifer? Okay, they sorted out your email. I still have 4 or 5 people that have issues. I don't know what to tell you. One person says it's the email issue, the other person says it's the OneDrive issue. I don't know. That's why I'm doing the hard copy. I've got your document and we can carry on. Okay, hopefully by next time they'll have that all sorted out. I know Man's one of the people. Miss Leonard, is that you? Okay. Somebody else, I forget who. Doesn't matter. More of us have access to our OneDrive. So when you want to see your completed work, you're going to hand them in. I grade it and then I'll put it in OneDrive for you. If you want to see where you went wrong, you can ask me, but your document will end up in OneDrive, okay? Right. And hopefully at the end of the year, end of the semester, I don't have to hunt for all these projects. They're in one common spot, okay? Questions for me? I uploaded, what did I upload? Forget. The fact that you were supposed to bring your envelopes today, I think. 2 links on how x-rays work. They're nice little YouTube videos, so if I didn't explain it well or satisfactorily, you might get something from the animations. The other thing, the second video link is how x-rays work. That's the next thing we're going to tackle. And they were well done. I really like them. You might get some information that makes sense of this, okay? And I also uploaded the recording of the properties of x-rays, all right? So I've changed my mind. If you think that's important, just record live, it's no big deal. We can do that if you think that's beneficial. But if you find some recordings from back a couple of semesters ago, they are still there. I don't say the same thing every time. If I find a new journal article that I want to incorporate, I would hate to think that I am saying the same thing in the same fashion. No, it's not how it works for me, because if I have a nice case come across my desk of occidentalization, you're going to see it because it was recent, right? It's up to date. So that's just how I do things. All right, so I'm going to load up the presentation that's in week 4. Does everybody have one of these things? Okay. And then